welcome to VicteliB TV, where we're going to share with you the business around fitness. And we are so excited. We have a special guest with us today, and it's Melissa Baumgartner. Not only is she my dear friend, but she's also super professional. I'm going to read her credentials to you in just a moment. But she's also our executive coach and is able to coach me through business. And I thought that the strategies that she uses and the methodologies that she used to move me and other colleagues and her clients through change is powerful. So I wanted to share it with you, our audience. So if you're ready to move for change, or you need to move through change, or you don't know what change is, then maybe we can help you through that. So this is Melissa. Let me tell you a little bit about Melissa because she's amazing. So she's an owner. She owns her own company. It's called Wellness Speaks. It's a coaching and consulting practice for groups and individuals. She also, 7 years ago, Melissa developed a training program entitled Fundamentals of Lifestyle Wellness Coaching. And the goal was to introduce the skills, science, and methodologies used in coaching for wellness and medical professionals, which she's going to share with us today. She's delivered this training to literally hundreds of people with rave reviews, and in fact, there are health and wellness companies across America using her training methodology and workshops to train their coaches for their coaching programs. She's also, we have a new coaching program called Breakthrough Challenge, and she's our program director for that, and that's group coaching, very exciting. And then lastly, she's a consultant, and she combines her education and coaching and communication skills with her years of experience in wellness to work with corporations, both large and small, to create a wellness program that fits the specific needs and challenges. Melissa's also been quoted in several publications, and to sum it up, she's a rock star, and she's a trailblazer among bringing lifestyle coaching into the fitness and wellness industry, and we are so excited that you're here today, Melissa.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So I'm going to ask her some questions, and I'm going to have her share with myself and you the tools and methodologies that she uses for coaching. So, Melissa, let me start with this question. What strategies do you as a coach use to move people through change?
So we use several strategies in coaching. For time constraints today for this interview, I'll just mention a few. The first one would be motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is a way to have a conversation with our clients in which we ask more open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions, as well as reflective listening statements, really giving our client that gift of their own words back to them. We do this to help them discover what it is that they're ready, willing, and able to change. We also use something called appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry is a methodology that is a way of asking questions, powerful questions, to help our clients discover what they're great at. Not just our clients, but organizations as well. What is working? Focusing more on the positive rather than the negative. And last but not least, NLP. NLP stands for neuro, the way we think, linguistics, the way we speak, and the P is for programming. Really thinking about how we ourselves process information, our best learning style. This allows me as a coach to match my teaching style and my conversation style specific to that client and their needs.
Wow, Melissa, first of all, that makes you sound super smart. So what you share with us is you use several strategies when you're coaching a group or an individual to move through change. And so you use motivational interviewing, which you use powerful questions. And I think my most favorite thing that you just shared was that when you said in motivational interviewing and use reflection, and that is the gift of giving back the client their own words. That's powerful because I get that too. Like when you say something and someone reflects your own words back, it also gives you an opportunity to change your mind. Like, no, I didn't. I know that's what I said, but I didn't mean that. So I bet that's a powerful tool when you're coaching.
What you just shared does happen quite often, and it's part of the
I know
coaching
it's
process.
happened with me in our coaching. I've done it. She's like, "What I heard you say is like that's not what I said." She's like, "That's what you said." Yeah. So I know that that's powerful. And then appreciative inquiry, and then lastly, you shared NLP, which is really the skill set, and I know it's one of your favorites, to be able to match your client so that they can really discover all that they need to discover to move through change.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So share with me this, Melissa. Here's our common question, and a lot of our partners, our potential partners, before they partner with us, they come to us and they're really struggling. And, it's been a tough time these last 5 years. They know they need to make change, either do they keep their studio? Do they close their studio? I mean, big life changes. What would you recommend would be the first step in somebody who is really struggling to make change, knew they had to survive, but didn't know where to start?
And first of all, let me acknowledge that is a really lousy place to be.
Right?
And that's really, really hard. I do work with clients that are right there, the story that you just shared with us. So the first thing that we do is we really take a step back and we reflect. We're going to figure out two things here. We're going to figure out, first of all, what it is that you want. We can use several techniques to do just just that. Visualization is one of those. Working with my clients to help them figure out what their perfect reality looks like, both professionally as well as personally, because we want to make sure that those are aligning. So really figuring out what it is you want. But just as importantly is figuring out who you are. I work with my clients to help them discover why they started here in the first place. Going backwards, what was the passion that led you to this place that you are now? Making sure that we understand what's of value to you, what's non-negotiable. Because here's the truth. If what you want and who you are do not align, it's never going to work. It might work, but you're going to be miserable. So what's the point?
Right. All right, so Melissa, so you shared that the first thing you would do is take your client back to their why. Why did they open a facility, or why did they choose to start a company, and go back and revisit that, and does it still align with their current values? So share with me, Melissa, after someone has gone back and rediscovered their why and discerned if their values still align, how do they move through the how, or how do they take the next step? What is the next step, and how do they take that?
And that is, it's really not until you know who you are and what you want until you can move on to the how piece of the puzzle. As a coach, what I'm going to do is I'm really going to use that NLP piece of the puzzle that we talked about earlier. Here it's about figuring out how you operate. How do you process information? So I might start with a powerful question such as, so now that we know what you want and we know why you want it, what is the first step that you can take to make this dream become a reality? So if I have a client who says to me, research, I am going to need to research everything that there is to research on this. I need to know every possible answer and solution before I can make a decision. Or on the other end of the spectrum, I may have a client that says, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and they immediately move to action. Well, as a coach, my job is to be the balance between those two spectrums. For the person over here that's going to research, the honest truth is I have clients that can stay in research for days, for weeks, for months, for years, to be honest with you. So it's my job to help move them through that research a little quicker and get them to the action phase. But on the other end of the spectrum, the person who doesn't maybe do the research, but immediately moves into action, then I'm the partner here. My job is to ask them questions they may not have asked themselves. They may only be looking at the positive, so then I need to take more of a negative approach. What could go wrong here? What are some obstacles that can get in the way? So before we even really start with the how, it's that first question. What is the first step you need to take, and then work our way forward in there. So once again, my job as a coach is to not just be a partner, but also be a balance, to be that other end of the spectrum that you need to help move you forward through change.
Okay, so Melissa, what you're saying is once we've discovered the why and revisited our why, is that still powerful for us? Then we start to take the action or start to move through the how. It's important that we understand who we are and how we operate before we can decide on which direction that we're going to do, or how, or the process of how we're going to get to where we're going to go.
Absolutely. And definitely makes things easier. That's for sure.
Right. So Melissa, so I'm super blessed, and we get to chat every day, and I can call upon your coaching strategies at any time. But what if we had a viewer who did not have the resources to secure a life coach? Or are there any strategies that they could do on their own?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, that ability to afford a coach or to have a coach will make this process much quicker. However, you can do a lot of these same things on your own. We call it self-coaching. And in fact, as a coach, I teach my clients to do these things, so they are self-coaching as well. So start back from the very beginning. What is it that you want? Who are you? Really taking the time to be alone, going back and reflecting, usually using those visualization techniques if they work for you, picturing your perfect reality, acquiring hints as you go through those visualization exercises to figure out who you are and what you want. And then as you figure out who you are and what it is you want, then you're also discovering how you operate. Are you someone who has the ability to see the big picture, and that is your strength? You're a big thinker, and your challenge may be the to-do list to work your way there? Or over here on the other side, is it more challenging for you to see the big picture, but you're really great at those little small tasks to make your work your way there? One's not right and one's not wrong. It just is. Know who you are, know how you process information, know what you want, and then start that action item list. Start that to-do list that works for you.
That's powerful, Melissa. So what you're saying is that if you really want to move through change, there's no excuse. That you can take the same methodologies that you've just shared with our viewers, and they can implement themselves. They might not move as quickly, but they're definitely able to move through change.
Absolutely. So whether you choose to work with a coach to go on that journey of discovery, or you decide to do it on your own, it's a vital component. Again, I emphasize, you can't know how to get there until you know what you want and who you are.
Okay, that's powerful. Know who you are and what you want.
Yes.
All right. So, Melissa, do you have any other strategies that you would recommend to somebody who is moving through change, moving through this entire process?
Absolutely. If you think about what we have done thus far, what we're really doing is we're moving through the SMART goal model. So I'm going to use those strategies, MI, motivational interviewing, appreciative inquiry, NLP, to really produce this conversation. But at the end of the day, that entire conversation is taking place to help you create goals, an action item list. So if you think about what we've done thus far, is we've really moved ourselves through the SMART goal model. But let me define that first, because I've not done that yet. So for me, my SMART goal model is first S is specific and or what do you want. My M is meaningful motivator, and that is who are you? Why do you want it? My A is action oriented or the how. So we have two of those pieces left. We have the R, which is realistic, and then we also have the T, which is timely. So let me take a moment, let me explain the R. So a strategy that I use with my clients often, once we have discovered what they want, who they are, and how they're going to start working their way to realize that dream, then I'm going to ask them a question. So if you can imagine, we're in the middle of a coaching conversation. We have 3 items that we've put together on your action item list to help move you forward. I'm going to ask you a question. And that question is on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're going to succeed? Now, that is a skill that I teach my clients to ask themselves all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you, Lori. I have worked 45 minutes with people. We've gotten this far, and I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to get a 5.
Oh my gosh, I would be so depressed. It was a whole lot of work and you're not even confident that you can move through change.
Exactly. So why aren't you confident? That's the question.
Right.
And the question can be many things. It can be an obstacle that you didn't realize was there. But now that I've asked that question, you can see the obstacle. Maybe it's self-efficacy, and that is that you don't believe that you have the ability to succeed. So really being realistic, making sure that that action item list, that your dreams, that your goals are realistic for you and your values. And simply asking yourself that question on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you will succeed?
Oh my gosh, that is so great. So not only do you have to move through all of the stages, or if we use what you shared, the SMART model, the specific, meaningful, action-oriented, realistic, that it has to be realistic for you. So you and I could sit here and chit chat for 2 hours, and I have this amazing goal, and you've worked me through all the questions, and I've answered them, and then you asked me if I'm confident, or you asked me to score myself on a scale of 1 to 10, and I score a 5. Then we're both pretty confident that I'm not going to be successful, right?
At least where you're not going to be successful, at least with the action item list that you have before you. It could be because it's not the right season. We all have a season in our lives, so maybe it's a dream that just needs to stay here for a while. Or maybe it's something very, very simple. Like, well, you know what? I gave myself a time limit of tomorrow, and that's not really realistic, but I can get it done in the next 48 hours.
Okay, so it's not really an end to your goal. Really, it's just you taking a realistic view of it, and it might require more time than you think.
Exactly.
And then, Melissa, what do you suggest for somebody who reaches their goal?
So that is actually the last part of the puzzle, the timely, which is not just a deadline, but also it's about taking the time to celebrate. Now, that may not sound all that monumental, but you know what? It really is important. It does a few things for us. First of all, it keeps our eye on the prize. It gives us a chance to once again go back and reflect what the big picture is. Because what I'm asking you to do is not just celebrate the big moment, not the moment where your dream is realized. I ask not just of my clients, but really everybody listening to this to stop and celebrate the small successes, because there's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of steps to reach that dream. This is also important because research shows us that by taking the time to celebrate the moments, we're building up our self-esteem. We're building up our self-efficacy. Our self-efficacy is our belief in ourselves to do that, going right back full circle what we just talked about with that action item list. And last but not least, it makes us happy. And at the end of the day, isn't that the ultimate goal for everyone?
Right. Oh my gosh, Melissa, I think that last component that you talked about, sitting in success, you have made me do over and over.
Yes, I have.
I hit the goal, and then I go to the next one. You're like, hold on, let's have a glass of wine and celebrate this success. And so I do believe everything that you said and how important it is. And I think that those that are really driven forget that. We're like, oh, yay, we reached the goal. What's tomorrow? What's the next goal? And I just feel that what you just shared was paramount to self-growth and self-celebration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love working with high achieving people, yourself being one of them. And so I often feel when I go back and I talk about being a coach and being a partner and being that other end of the spectrum, the thing about high achieving people, and you've said this for yourself, it's really easy to climb this ladder and then this ladder and this ladder. And at the end of the day, what's at the top of every one of those ladders is simply happiness and success. But if we don't take a moment and reflect and celebrate and also make sure that we're still supposed to be on this journey, which is coming right back full circle. What do you want and why do you want it? It's paramount. It's very important.
Right. Oh, Melissa, thank you so much.
You are
that
so
was
welcome.
Just such great information. So if you would like to reach out to Melissa, you can reach her at melissabaumgartner.com. We have that link below. You can also find her on Facebook, Melissa Baumgartner Wellness Speaks, and that link is below as well. And then you can also reach out to us, and we can get you to Melissa, and we're at VicteliB.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe. We come at you every week. Hit like because you really liked us. And then lastly, leave us a comment. If you have a great success story, leave it below. We'd love to hear from you. So, Melissa, we always like to close with a little tradition. We do it in all of our programs after every session. And what I do is I count us up 1, 2, 3, and then together we say hoo-ah, and we're high 10 at the same time.
All right. I'm Air Force, so okay, I can do the Army thing.
So you'll step down and say hoo-ah?
Hoo-ah, yes, all right.
All right, so here we go. So 1, 2, 3,
hoo-ah!
Yay, thank you so much. Hey, welcome to VicteliB TV, where we're going to share with you the fitness. No, we're not. We're not going to share with you fitness. No fitness. You just want to share a success. How do you say sex?
Not a sex story. We don't want a sex story.
No more porn. It's the second time I've said porn today. Or you would like to leave us.
She just wanted you to say sex again.
I know.